And here we are. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness. Once again, so happy to have you with us tonight. My name is Nicholas Viselli. I am the artistic director of Theater Breaking Through Barriers. And yes, on this chilly Thursday, I guess I should say a seasonable Thursday, I am indeed coming to you live as live can be from right here deep within the heart of the Thunderdome in glorious Midtown Manhattan, from TVTV's offices. And on behalf of our entire team here at TVTV, our staff, our cast, our artists, I want to cordially welcome you to Theater Breaking Through Barriers' first ever hybrid Playmakers Intensive, or HPI 1. Dramatis ubiquitous. I don't know if you had the opportunity or the pleasure to join us earlier in the week. We began this on Monday, and it's been really exciting. I mean, we've had 3 wonderful shows so far. Tonight's show is I love this show. I love everybody in it. So I can't wait to share it with you. Just a little setup. I know for those of you who have been joining us, you have heard this before, but I just want to share it for anyone who is new to the game. We've been doing this project, this Playmakers Intensive, since 2011. And we did it every year, and we would gather a group of artists together, randomly pair them together into groups, and then give each group in the beginning, it was 24 hours to create an original short play. That was, at that time, we called it the TVTV Boot Camp. The point of it was to work with a lot of artists, many of whom we had never worked with before, to get writers to write plays specifically considering disabled artists, but not so much writing plays about disability, but writing plays that a disabled artist could play in, and where disability wasn't sort of the issue, right? And mostly to sort of team build. That was the whole mission. And it was really exciting. We loved doing it. Well, fast forward to 2020, pandemic, none of us could get together to perform. So we said, why don't we try doing this online as a lark? I thought, I don't know how it's going to work out, but it was wonderfully successful. So throughout the pandemic, we presented 6 virtual Playmakers Intensives. All of them, we created, I think, over 75 short plays, worked with over 300 artists. Amazing. From all over the world, like wherever people were, we could work with them. So a lot of great opportunities through this medium. So this time, now as we are creeping out of the pandemic and, edging our way back into like doing full-time live theater, I thought, well, why don't we, some of the plays that we wrote, I'm curious to see how we can these plays transfer to the live stage? And also to answer the big question, which is it still theater if it comes from your computer screen? So that is our experiment for this week. So the play that we did last night, tonight's show, and the play that we're doing tomorrow night, on Saturday night, we are going to be doing these live in front of an audience. And so, and the best part is we're going to be streaming that whole show for you as well. So if you are lucky enough to see tonight's show on Zoom, you will have an opportunity to see it on Saturday night in front of an audience, and you'll get to see how it works in both mediums. Maybe we'll be able to answer that question. All right, I've talked more than enough. I'm excited about tonight's show. Really wonderful play. I think this is Cate Allen. Cate Allen wrote this play. And I think this is her 4th show with us, 4th show that she wrote for us, something like that. This play is titled, I Am Obligated to Inform You. It was directed by Ben Rauch, and 2 actors that I love them both to death, Scott Barton, Dan Teachout. So let's just get right to it. Before we actually start the show, I always ask our artists to give a brief audio description of themselves for the benefit of anyone who is tuning in who can't see us, so that you'll have an idea of what they look like, and also you'll get a chance to hear their voices. So actors, would you please identify yourselves?
Hi, I'm Scott Barton. I'm a white male, approximately 60 years old, with brown hair, brown eyes. I'll be wearing a light brown turtleneck sweater with a brown jacket.
Hi, I'm Dan. I'm playing Sam. I'm in my late 50s, silver gray hair, gray button-down shirt, and I'm holding a brown clipboard.
Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy Cate Allen's I Am Obligated to Inform You.
On the grounds of a sprawling country home upstate New York.
This is just stunning.
It is. I honestly never get used to it. Every time I show the house, I notice something new and wonderful, especially about the property.
The air is just...
I know. I live closer to town. I tell my wife the air is just different here. But it's true.
20 acres?
26.
And built in
1928, last major renovation, kitchen, baths, roof, just over 8 years ago. It has only been very slightly lived in since then. The owners didn't get up here much. That's one of the reasons they're selling.
I can't believe it's in my price range.
You get so much more for your money the further you get from the city. For this price in the city.
Oh, a 2-bedroom at most, at the most. Is this flagstone?
It is.
I can't believe I'd own something that has flagstone. It sounds so grown up and settled.
So, are we thinking of making an offer?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but yes, I think I am thinking about making an offer.
Fantastic.
What do you advise? I've never bought anything before.
Well, I think it's fairly priced, but the owners are motivated. They got a little behind in the taxes.
Oh?
Yes, but whoever buys that doesn't deal with that. It gets paid off at the closing. The title would be free and clear. It happens more than you think.
What are the taxes again?
Right there, an estimate of utilities, but that's for the family. If it's just you, it is you, correct?
Yes.
It should be significantly lower than that. And since you have well water, well, you won't have that expense, which is an additional savings.
I'm caught between terrified and elated.
Well, why don't we try this? It's just an offer. 200,000 below ask.
How about 250?
Why not? Let's see what they come back with.
Shit. It just feels right, you know? I can actually picture myself living here.
Well, who wouldn't? It's your own private paradise.
And you think I can qualify for a mortgage?
You're pre-qualified, so you should be fine as long as you don't go on any major spending sprees.
Oh, no, that's not me. I think this is what my aunt would have wanted, that I use my inheritance to own a home. It's weird, but I kind of feel her presence here. I can picture her right here on this patio, playing her banjo.
A lady of the strings, huh? Thank you, Auntie.
Carol.
Auntie Carol, you're a peach and your nephew thanks you. Now, we'll need to arrange for an inspection. And I always recommend with these older homes, no matter how well maintained, that you get an engineer's report, which should also, run you about $2,000.
Wow.
No, these are just one-time costs and could save you a much more expensive headache in the future. But it's up to you. So do we want to proceed with the offer?
Sure. Yes. Let's do it. Make the offer. God, this is nerve-wracking.
And exciting.
Yes. Wow. I could own this place. Look at this place. It could be mine.
By the grace of Aunt Carol. Now, okay. So it's 250 below ask. If you offer a quick close date, they may be more receptive. I'm confident that we can get a rush on a mortgage. Would you be willing to do a 30-day close pending all the reports, of course?
Sure. Why not?
Mm.
Jesus, I could be living up here in a month.
It's possible. Now, before I officially submit your offer, I am legally obligated to disclose certain information about the property.
Oh?
Yes, by law. Now, before, I have to tell you about any activity on the property that involved the involvement of law enforcement.
Okay.
Okay. Don't worry, houses are like people. If you're around long enough, there's going to be some embarrassing shit in your past. Excuse my French. So, as I mentioned, the house was built as a weekend retreat for the industrialist Graham Ruth and his family by the architect Lars Frickel in 1928. Unfortunately, Mr. Ruth lost his he lost his fortune in the market crash of 29. So,
Oh, God.
Oh, but
that's
don't
horrible.
don't worry about that. It happened in a barn that was demolished decades ago, where the English garden is now.
Really?
Then in the 30s, it was raided several times for being a factory that employed child labor, orphans, but they were never able to make it stick. Payoffs were pretty common back then.
Jesus Christ.
But there's a good bit of history here. In the 40s, the property was used as a convalescent home for veterans disabled by the Second World War.
Oh, okay. Well, that is nice.
Until they found out they were conducting all these weird experiments.
You know what? I don't think I want to know.
Oh, fair enough.
Is that it?
There was a major fire in the 50s. The owner was a lawyer, but when he tried to collect on the insurance, it was deemed suspicious. So, they discovered he pretty much embezzled the entire town. Then in the 60s, they were, the property was occupied by squatters, pretty much belonging to a cult, which took a while to flush them out. And, they were pretty good at hiding, and they kept having babies.
Please stop.
Obligated by law, almost done. In the 1970s, there were several structures used as sound stages for a major, some say legendary, pornography studio. And in the 80s, there was a sweat lodge. Oh, located over where the magnolia trees are now. Very poorly conceived, though. It's a miracle that people didn't die.
Oh, well, thank goodness.
Oh, sorry, I misspoke. That more people didn't die. Oh, watch your step there. There's some loose flagstone. We could put that in the offer that they had to fix that. Something wrong?
I think I really need to think about this.
Well, are you sure? It's just an offer. It doesn't commit you to anything. Kind of take the seller's temperature.
I don't need the seller's temperature. I need to leave.
Oh, wait. I can drive you to the train station. You can't hear me. Ben and Debbie, hey, it's Sam Thomas. Look, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but no dice on the showing. I think it might be time to lower the ask price again. It's, well, the only way we're going to be able to entice an offer. I know you're eager to sell, so I'm thinking maybe a $200,000 cut. Well, definitely scare up. We'll definitely scare up some interest at that price point. Call me back and let me know. Hey, honey, it's me. I'm at the house watching a spectacular sunset. One I'm pretty sure that will soon be ours. Yeah, another 200 grand. I know it is. Where these people hear these crazy rumors, I'll never know. What's that? Who said it was haunted? Who told you that? I swear to you, there's absolutely nothing about this house that could ever be a problem.
Perfect. All right. Mic drop. That was wonderful. Come on, you guys. That was great. Come back here. Come back here. Everyone. Oh, wait, we gotta make sure that we can have everyone turn on their cameras. All right, Ben, have you done that? There we go. There we go. Wait a sec. We're waiting for we're waiting for Sam. There he is. Wait, he went away again. Hang on a sec. Let's try one more time. There. Come on back, Dan, Sam. Okay. Oh, you guys, what a great show.
Overlapping each other.
I have to tell you, I laughed out loud when I read this. And the fact is, I knew I could hear the actors' voices in my head before I even read it. That just goes to show you what a wonderful writer Cate is. And it was so well written and so well cast and incredibly well directed. Thank you. Thank you so much. Cate, you have got the greatest sense of humor. I have to tell you, you're right on it. And you just completely get what we're doing here. What I love about this, I love your play for many, many reasons. But the thing that I loved when I read it was, yes, I could see this done on Zoom and I can see this done on stage. And I think it would work. It's going to work beautifully in both cases. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. Now, I think you'd worked with, well, I know you'd worked with, did you work with all three of these guys before?
I've not worked with any of them.
You never worked with any of these guys? Okay.
No.
But they've worked with each other.
Yes.
Right. I keep forgetting because in the first play that you did for us, it was, who was it? It was
Richard Rose.
It was Richard and it was Fred Bacchus and
Enrique.
Enrique.
Keith.
That's right. That's right.
And Keith.
And
Yeah.
Keith.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All right. So, all right. What was it like working with these characters?
Oh, so great. It was so great. I mean, I couldn't come to the first meeting, so I had no idea who I would end up with. And then I was a little surprised that I only had 2 actors. So it's like, they're both going to have to do some heavy lifting. And like I said, I wasn't familiar with either one of them or with Ben. And just our first meeting, just trying to elicit kind of where I could go with this. And for a couple of days, I had no idea. And then actually, Scott had told a story about house hunting. I think it was during the pandemic. Is that right, Scott?
No, it was actually, I saw the house the day I met you.
Oh gosh, it was that immediate. Huh?
Yes.
So, and then I just kept coming back to that. And I said, well, yeah, that's kind of a perfect story. Just somebody who's looking for a house with a really, shady realtor, and that could just be kind of funny. And I felt like these guys could be really funny. I mean, including Ben. And I said, I feel like if, we tried to do something with humor, that they could really knock it out of the park, because they could play kind of both sides, very dry, and ended up being, exceeding my expectations. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I really like that.
I'll be honest with you. When we chose everybody, and again, this is all random. I have to be very clear about this, because there was no, it's not like I sort of sit there and read the plays or I look at the people and say, I think they should work with these, there's none of that. It's just name out of hat, blah, blah, blah. And this intensive was a little trickier because we were only doing 7 shows, and I wanted shows where we could actually perform them live. So it was harder for me to sort of tell people who live in other parts of the country, there's not going to be as many shows. So, unless you're here in New York or can be here in New York, without asking us to cover your transportation, this is the only, this is the way we're going to do it. And when I saw the group that you had, I saw it's going to be a great show. I just knew it. I just knew right away. So I think it's really, really exciting. Very, very good. You're house hunting, Scott. I didn't know you were house hunting. That's wonderful.
Yeah. I'm just sticking my toe in the water.
Yeah. You thinking about moving out of the city or having
Country place.
Good for you. That's
After
wonderful.
After being shut up in my apartment for so long during COVID, I feel the need to escape.
Understood. So Ben, boy, life has changed a lot, Ben, hasn't it, in the last couple of months? Yeah. Before we get into any of the personal stuff, I want to talk about working with this show and this group. Now you've done a bunch of shows. I love working with you because you understand the sensibilities of wanting to work on Zoom and also wanting to work on live, doing work live. And I do want to sort of say one thing. I love the idea of utilizing all of the technical elements within the Zoom platform. For this exercise, I don't like to do that too much because it's a new play, and I want it to feel more like theater than to manipulate images and movement and everything. What we did tonight was perfect in that sense because it balanced, and it wasn't making too much out of it, and I love that. So how was it working with this crew?
Well, I know Dan and I know Scott. And when I got this script from Cate, which was written very quickly and very efficiently, it's just we come up with this out of the blue, and to write for people that you don't really know so well, it's a really amazing accomplishment. And it was like really done. Like the first draft, I was like, I don't know how she's gonna make this, but maybe like a couple word changes, but it was really good. And then we just got to it, and we started rehearsing, and these guys are just great. I mean, it's as a director and actor, it's fun to give direction to actors that just will be able to like do it and put their own spin on it. And it's just fun to see that and to be able to look at the full thing in full view. So
wow.
Yeah, it was great.
It's wonderful. I always find it just so exciting to see how it all comes together. And I'm always amazed with you, Cate, because you come up with these ideas, and I don't know how much you know about like working with realtors and all that, but I mean
too much. I think everybody has experienced being on the wrong end of that equation.
No, but I mean, it was great. And I remember the first show you wrote for us, which was the whole idea of fantasy football, where you're like, I don't know anything about fantasy football, but yet you would never know that. Wow, I'm always blown away by it.
Yeah, just research.
Yeah, but it all just comes together so beautifully. So I'm
Thank you.
always so impressed. All right, Scott and Dan. Now wait a second. Forgive me, and I'm sorry if I sound like I'm losing my marbles a little bit, but when was the last, you guys worked together when?
Jeff Tabnick's Talking Torsos play.
Oh, that's right. You guys were the Talking Torsos. That was great. I think the chemistry between you two works really, really well, because there is that seriousness about you both. And then there's always, especially from you, Dan, you've got this wonderful way of, how can I say, there's a little edgy side to you, a little like you can be serious that then suddenly tips into something that's not, that's like a little, I don't know, crazy or something. I don't know. It just works so beautifully. Like, I don't know I don't know how to say it, but I just love the chemistry that you both had. Talk to me about doing this play together, and having a chance to work off of each other. And let's start with you, Scott.
Oh, it's just a pleasure working with Dan. It's just very easy. Ben was a very helpful director, and it was a wonderful process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about you, Dan? You seem very, you're checking out the price there on your on your clipboard, but I can't hear you. You're off.
Sorry. No, I was just making some notes, that's all. So no, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It's always fun to do a comedy, and I do so many serious things all the time, and so anyway, it was a lot of fun. And Cate's a terrific writer, and Ben's a terrific director, and he just got 5 million ideas, and they all come at you in the same 10 seconds, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't understand why you don't do more comedy. You've got such a great sense for comedy, and yeah, so that would be my choice. If I was going to cast you in anything, I'd want to cast you in a comedy, because I just think that you have such a great flair for it. Yeah, really, really love the work. Okay. So this was not a very long show, which was good. I mean, it's perfect. It's about 8 o'clock. So I'm going to talk for a few more minutes, and then I want to give you guys a little bit of a break before the next show. All of you have had the opportunity to do this format, the virtual intensive. My big question, which I mentioned at the very top of the show here, was, is it still theater if it's coming from your computer screen? Now, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. I mean, everybody I've asked this so far, I've gotten a bunch of different answers, but I'm really curious to know each of your thoughts on this as well. So I want to start with you, Ben.
Yes, 100%. I think it's theater. There's plenty of live theater pieces that have, like Rent. When Rent came out, they were doing some video, right, live on stage. That was video. And then there's other shows like Frost Nixon with Frank Langella, where they're videoing him on stage and his combination video. And then sometimes they have video backstage. They're doing something televised, like live backstage. Same with sound, right? They're very often they're doing live sound backstage. You don't see the person, and it's like just backup singers. It happens in musicals all the time. So that is, incorporated in it. I think it's like a combination of they have like live shows, like TV shows, but this is I don't know, it's a little different. It's almost like the same thing. I think the potential for this is enormous. And I think it's the one gift of the pandemic, maybe, or a few, hand sanitizer and masks being the other two. I'm really good at that right now, and the masks. I haven't gotten sick in a while. But yeah, I think that I think it is theater. Theater is really just communication. I don't know if it has to just be on a stage. It can be on a flat surface too, or in a park, right? I think there's all different. Or in my parents' basement, when I was a kid. Mold and mildew.
Mold and there you go. I find it interesting. I will agree with you. I think that to me, theater is really about connecting. It's as a stage performer, it's very exciting to be on stage and to feel the energy of the audience and to know that there is a very distinct exchange, that when something happens on stage and the reactions of the audience help to generate and feed and channel how things move on from there. And the great part about theater is you can see the same show every night and it's always different. Every night's different. Even though you're doing the same lines and the same set and the same costumes, it's always different. Unlike a film, which once it's filmed, edited, and in the can, it doesn't change. You know, the audience that sees it changes, but the film never changes. This is live. We're doing this live right now. Now, the funny part of that is, if someone wants to watch this show tomorrow and goes to YouTube and sees what we're filming as we speak, it's no longer live. But because it was filmed live, there's an energy and a vitality to what we're all putting into it. I think that makes a difference. What about you, Scott?
It's been I've been very thankful to have been able to perform on Zoom, and over the course of all the intensives that I've done, I hope I've gotten a little bit better at it, but I've got to say I'm really looking forward to performing this in front of a live audience. Just that feeling is totally different.
Yeah, I agree. It's very different, and I would never suggest that this is ever going to replace that. That's not the point. It's just another. I think it's another way of connecting, another way of communicating. And again, yeah, it is.
The global outreach that we've had doing these.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that we were able to create work with a theater company in Japan that was all created, it began on Zoom and it was rehearsed on Zoom. And then when we went live, the thing that I find really interesting is that I've met so many people in this, through these intensives that I'd never worked with before, and I've never met them in person. I've only met them on the screen here. And yet then those I have met in person since we've been, connecting more. I already know them, and it actually feels like we've always known each other, So you can form a relationship on this, which I find fascinating. So connection, it's weird. How about you, Dan? Any thoughts? Oh, you're off mic.
Yeah, the only difference is that you have to unmute yourself. And anyway, no, the absence of an audience is the main difference, but it's still a performance. It's still live. You still get nervous.
Mhm.
You still imagine that people are watching you for whatever. So there's not that much difference, but there is. But it's definitely a type of theater, and
Mhm.
yeah. So
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I think so. I just always find it fascinating. But I want to finish this up with you, Cate, because as a writer, obviously, and as a writer of plays, I'm now writing other things as well. What are your thoughts on this? And you go to the theater all the time, so what are your thoughts?
Right. I'm going to piggyback a little bit on what Dan said. It's a type of theater, and it's just a type of theater out of necessity. So artists have to create art, and I think that is what makes it theater. But I think the element was really hard for everyone during the pandemic is that loss of the collective experience of being in a space, and for actors especially,
Mhm.
to not know how their work is being received, if what the response is, and as an audience member, not going, whether it be comedy or tragedy or having that experience within a group of people is very different, I think. And so on the one hand, it keeps people tied together, but at a distance. that, just really you can't replicate in live in-person performances. Although the work itself is, yes, very real, very, very much theater, but I guess just our experience has to shift because of this, this huge change.
So now the other part of this experiment that we are going to be working on Saturday is, in addition to doing this in front of a live audience, we're going to be putting a camera in the room and we're going to be streaming all of this work as it's being performed live to a virtual audience. Now, there's another question. It will be received in a different way, and it is still a live performance. And the person viewing will have the opportunity to share in the energy of what they're getting from the audience in the room. So I wonder how that's going to have an influence. I look at this in many ways, like if you're watching a live sporting event or an awards show where you don't know what the outcome is going to be, and you're watching it unfold as everybody else is. So if there's a stadium full of people and you're watching it on television, you get just as pumped up as they do. So I'm just curious about that manipulation of experience, and how, in many ways, I feel this can revolutionize and change theater. They're doing it now. I mean, I had this idea, not that it was my idea because I'm not getting anything out of it other than watching somebody else do it, but I thought this can change Broadway. You can actually set up cameras in a Broadway house, and you could sell a virtual ticket to a performance, not film it ahead of time and show it on Disney Channel. That's cinematic. This is, you have a stationary camera in the orchestra, a stationary camera in the balcony, maybe a stationary camera in the wings, and you can pay $50 and you can, on that night, punch in your code and you can watch the live performance with the audience as it's happening wherever you are. And you can say, well, that's not the same as theater. It's like, well, no, it is, because you're seeing the show as it's happening with warts and all. And if you watched it tomorrow night, it would be a different show, even though it's the same show. And if you can do that, like, how great would it be to say, oh, there's a great show that's opening up in the West End, but I'm never going to make it to London, so I can watch it on my computer. How cool would that be? And it would make actors a lot more money. It could change theater. Just a thought.
I think also we haven't even touched this yet, but virtual theater, where people were virtual, people doing this with video games, right? And TV and stuff. And this is a whole other level where people like moving and seeing in full 24, surround 360, the world that people are in. I mean, you need tech gear, and 360 cameras, but it's a possibility.
Again, I don't think it actually replicates the experience of being in the room, of feeling the energy in person. But it's not a bad thing, it's always that idea of, like, if you're watching the Super Bowl on television, you're like, wow, it would cost me, $2,000 ticket to sit in that stadium, and I'm getting a much better view from my television screen. Well, a lot of people go and they bring a television screen with them so they can get a better. So it's like, how we mix that media and how it changes and manipulates how things are received I'm just trying to extract the positives that we took from this, working in this experience, and applying them to what we love, which is theater, and seeing how the hybrid form, how we can get the best of all the worlds together. So I find it fascinating, and I'm always interested in everybody's thoughts on it, because we all have very different ideas. And as I said, there's no wrong answer. As in art, there is no wrong. There's like, don't like, but there's no wrong. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Does anyone have any final thoughts? It's almost quarter after, so I want to give you guys a nice, decent break before we jump off here and jump on to the next program at 8:30. Anyone? All right.
excited. I'm excited to meet. I haven't worked with Dan before, and this is the second time. And I've worked with Scott, and I've met Scott in person, but I've never met Dan in person. So this is like, it'll be cool. He's gonna see how immensely tall and towering over him I am. Person. We're rehearsing tomorrow. Dan, I don't think you've ever known my height. But we're gonna meet tomorrow. We have a rehearsal in person tomorrow. I'm gonna be wearing my mask and my high heels, and it'll be good. I'm excited for that because
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm excited too, that because the one thing about this intensive that I loved was when we first started doing the virtual things, I said, this is never going to work, because when we get everybody into one room and everybody gets randomly paired together and everyone is sort of in the room when that's happening, there's this energy, there's this like this buzz in the room, and no one really knows what to expect. And then once everyone's paired up, you see like each group flocking to corners of the room so they can have their little like huddles, meetings. And it's always so exciting. And so when we decided to do it online, I said, oh, we'll try it. It's not going to work. It's just going to suck. I really thought that. And I just was so happy to find out I was wrong. People loved it. The work was just as rich. People enjoyed getting together. Yes, you did not see your audience when you were performing, but the connections were there. And that to me said everything. And then, as I know, I mentioned this last night, when you're working with artists and performers with disabilities, working on this platform, especially if you have a visible disability, not that, again, we don't want to hide disability, but when the way the world is now, when you have a visible disability, people do not see the artist, they see the disability. And then they make decisions based on that. In this form, if you don't see the disability, you see the artist and you have a different perception. And my goal, or the company's goal, is always to show the artist and not to focus on the disability. You know, the disability should only matter as much as we, the art makers, want it to matter in relation to the art we create, not, oh, I want the audience to feel something because someone's in a wheelchair or someone has some sort of disability. That's wrong, I think. So yeah, it's all about, connections. So that's what matters. Thank you, guys. Thank you for everything. So I want you to take a little bit of a break now. You've got 15 minutes. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in tonight. You had a great opportunity to see a wonderful show. And I hope that you will tune in on Facebook in 15 minutes, because you will get to see the show again. And the fun part of doing the show live twice is you get to see how it changes between here and there, to show you that theater is indeed a living, breathing thing, that it changes with every performance. So thank you for that. I guess my mission on this one is we do this time of year. This intensive, we always like to do it like around the holidays, before the holidays, as sort of a holiday kickoff, right? A celebration toward the end of the year celebrations as well. So my appeal to you is, tell your families, tell your friends, and share the work that we're doing with them. Let them know and pull them on. Make sure they come and watch what we're doing here, because I think I am so proud of our company and our artists and our mission, what we try to do. And that's great, but unless the word is being spread, it just stays small, and people, it becomes a best kept secret, as opposed to something that we want to share with the world. So please tell everybody. Go to our website, tvtv.org. You can see everything that's going on. Here's something special. The show that we're going to be doing Saturday night, which will begin at 6 o'clock, right here in New York City. If you're in town or anywhere near the city, you can come to see this, and it will be free. And if you go to our website, tvtv.org, you can find out how to get tickets for free to come and see this work live. So we hope that you'll do that. If you can't see it live, well, then make sure you tune in Saturday night at 6 o'clock and you'll get to see it streamed live, which is the next best thing. I think so, maybe. Go to our website, click the donate button at the top of the page. I normally don't ask for money this time of year, and with the circumstances as they've become, I am asking for your support. Your support will actually, it sort of solidifies your partnership with our company, and and that I take very seriously. I mean, our audiences are so important. You are just as important to us as the people performing, the people who write, the people who direct, the people who design. You're a part of all that. So we hope that you'll join us on that. And you know, it's just been a very interesting time now. Where things have changed a lot since the pandemic, and we're all trying to adjust. Also, in a time of inflation and in a time of uncertainty, it's always good to lean on each other. So I'm hoping that we can lean on you as well. Anyway, on all of that note, tomorrow we have another wonderful show. Our final, what we'll call all virtual, well, it's not even an all virtual performance, but our final virtual performance will be tomorrow evening. It's a wonderful play by the great David Adam Gill called Putting to Rest, directed to perfection by Ed Satrakian, and starring, a cameo in tonight's show that I'll tell you more about in the next show, Veronica Cruz and Melissa Jennifer Gonzalez. So please, 7:30 right here on YouTube, 8:30 on Facebook. We look forward to seeing you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we'll see you hopefully in 10 minutes, but if not, tomorrow night. Good night, all.